questions. Yes. That's it.
Thank you for this talk. Excellent talk.
Thank you.
Can you stand up?
The question revolves around the fact of your friend who was sitting next to you on that airplane, and David Obama is the devil. I'm just wondering, in my experience, that has really frustrated me in Pakistan, is we're very quick to pinpoint the devil outside. But what about the devil inside? What is your take on Pakistani involvement? And what do you think the Pakistani community, masses, the elite, the so-called liberal people, think about Pakistan's involvement in Bangladesh, in East Pakistan, the army's massacre in 1970. Pakistan's involvement in Balochistan has not been very rosy. The culmination of Akbar Bukti's assassination. Last but not least, even events revolving around the Black September massacre in 1970, of which our friend Zia Haq was nicely involved back then as a brigadier. Could you comment a little bit on when will Pakistan take ownership of the devil that resides within us?
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Faisal, a couple of things. First of all, I think that question has an underlying assumption that Pakistan is one independent, organized entity. I think Pakistan is firstly increasingly fractured. I don't think Pakistan, I'm not very comfortable in referring to Pakistan as Pakistan the country or Pakistan the state anymore. I'm not. I feel that it's unraveling at an increasing pace. If you think that Pakistan's so-called power elite gets together every Sunday morning after brunch and says, okay, so who do we take on next week? What's the agenda? Okay, we're going to ignore the Americans. Okay, we're going to prop up the Taliban. Okay, we're going to nuke the Indians. No, I don't think it's that. I think it's come down to such a state, as I was just joking around with someone else the other day, I think Mariam was in that conversation, that it's such a fractured country now that even if you make Mullah Omar the Amirul Mu'mineen, which is the commander of the faithful, for those of you who do not get the Arabic, even if you make Mullah Omar the Amirul Mu'mineen, there is going to be someone on the right of him. And there's going to be someone who's going to say, yo dude, you're too soft, man. You know, no. And there's going to be someone on the right of them and to the right of them. So I think we've reached this like infinite structure, like religious fracture, first of all. So that secondly, it is the job of the media, it is the job of the state, as far as its education is concerned, to tell the people. The Israelis and the Palestinians have done a fantastic job at telling their kids what's wrong and what's right. And it's been through a very twisted optical lens. The Pakistanis have perfected that. The Israelis and the Palestinians need to get their case together and really learn how it's done, how xenophobia is created from the Pakistani state. Because here is a country which technically, if you think about it, is founded on the river Indus. The Indus Valley Organization goes back to myriad religions and cultures, thousands of years back. But at the Pakistani Military Academy, the history starts with the conquest of Sindh by Muslim Arab invaders. It's as if there was no Hindu Pakistan, as if there was no Buddhist Pakistan, no animalist Pakistan before that. So, and thirdly, it's the job of people like you and me. Not everybody has a PhD from Cornell, right? So, and can ask such questions. And essentially, I think the media and the intelligentsia have failed. They have failed to really give pushback that, hey, listen, we massacred the Bangladeshis before they became Bangladeshis. It didn't just happen, right? We took American money. They didn't force it down our throats, right? And I think that's where the ultimate failure is, because it's been a failure of the elite as well. And for many reasons. Perhaps some of us have been scared. Some of us have contributed to the brain drain. You and I are here. Let's be honest, you and I are not in the streets of Lahore and Islamabad and Karachi and Sakhar. We're here. And this is co-option. This is actually sort of kind of trying to, I might still go back. I don't know for a lot of other of my friends who are here. So that bothers me. So, but, you know, guys, man's got to do what a man's got to do. Put some money on the table, put some bread on the table. So what are you going to do about that? So these are facts which bother me about the Pakistani elite.
I asked, were you afraid? Because I know that you put yourself in some fairly scary situations by doing this kind of talk exactly as a television anchor for important television programs in Pakistan, right? And
Yeah. I mean, I called Salman Taseer, once again, the governor who was slain in broad daylight by his bodyguard, 26 entry wounds, 14 exit wounds. His bodyguard emptied his entire magazine into this guy from the back. He didn't even face him. He was such a coward, right? And essentially, I called him the day after his assassination. I had another guest on TV, and I was like, what do you think of his, we have a term in Pakistan called shaheed, which refers to martyrdom in the religious sense. And we use it not just in a religious sense, we use it in every sense. Somebody who dies wrongly is a shaheed. Somebody who's murdered wrongly is a shaheed, etc. So I used it in a larger sense, in the broader sense. And it was taken off air. That bit was not allowed to run. So that's just one latest thing of what I've tried to push and push back. There was this huge massacre around 10 months ago in a minority sect's mosque. 3 or 4 attackers came in, took over the mosque all afternoon, went on a killing spree. Killed 100 of these guys called Ahmadis. They're from a minority sect. And within minutes of that, I saw how news coverage sort of started taking the massacre less and less seriously. Within the first 30 minutes, the language changed. For example, and this is once again, this boils down to your argument about whether it's the elites problem, because they were calling these guys, the attackers, terrorists. So when the attack starts, live TV cameras roll in, the attack's happening inside, they've blocked the walls off, and they're just going to town on these worshippers with automatic assault weapons, grenades, and suicide bombs. And within the first 30 minutes, they were calling these attackers terrorists, Dehshatgard, as we call them. And then they dropped down a notch to gunmen. And also in the first 30 minutes, they were calling the place where this attack was being held a mosque. Because it looks like a mosque, it's a mosque that we pray in it, it's a mosque. But then around the 40th minute or so, it changed from a mosque to a place of worship. So they sterilized it. A place of worship is, I don't know what it is, but evidently that's what it was. And so I wrote a blog minutes after that called I Am an Ahmadi. And I'm not an Ahmadi, but I wrote it called I Am an Ahmadi. And since that day, I've had a lot of, professional problems, so to say. And let's just stop it at that. And perhaps even personal threats, but nothing. I'm still here, and so is my beautiful wife, so everything is fine. But yeah, things got a little hairy after I declared that, and maybe you can go read it. It's important that some of you read that.
In addition to that, people can find your reporting on YouTube, right? What's the channel that people should look for?
Just type Wajahat S Khan. Or just go to YouTube and type Talkback. Which is pretty simple.
You can see your work, where they can see your interview with Salman Taseer, your interview with former President Pervez Musharraf.
That's right.
Many others. So they can go there. They can find you on Twitter, Facebook. Is that where you'd like to be?
Yeah, I'm at twitter.com/Wajahat S Khan. That's WAJS Khan. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. Just type Wajahat S Khan. You'll find me. WAJS.Khan.
So we're going to take a break in a minute. If you have to leave, that's fine. We have a number of programs throughout the day here, so we kind of give people a chance to come in and out. If you were new today and you'd like us to keep in touch with you, could you please sign our mailing list? John pointed out it's a little red binder here on the shelf on your way out. We'd love to keep in touch with you. We tend to send about an email per week. And we're also on Facebook. We'd love for you to like us on Facebook. We keep people updated that way as well. We will, we have until 3:30 until the next program starts. So we could do a couple of discussion circles if people want to, after a few minutes break, stick around. Tell me, Gorgo and Arslan, are you guys going to be able to stick around? Would you be interested in moderating a little bit of a discussion afterwards?
I think Arslan had a question too.
Yeah?
So.
Well,
I can ask, it's just a general question about, how do you explain the ambivalence of the Pakistani well-educated youth towards secularism and issues related to it? Because I was in Pakistan last year, and it seemed to me, and a lot of young people I met, they either tend to avoid or just dodge the question of religion. politics, so one way or another. And then they'll be like, we're secular, we lay back, and then something like this assassination of Salman Rushdie happens. They're either silent bystanders, some of them, or they are in support of it. And that's something that I've had a hard time.
Yeah, Arslan, I think we can talk about this in your discussion group at length, but something weird is happening. I think firstly, religious fundamentalism, I hate that word, it's terrible, right? Because I think I look at religious fundamentalists, well, like political fundamentalists. And I've had some exciting discussions with some really hardcore conservatives, with some guys who make Republicans look like baby bunnies, right? And I think as long as you're open to the idea of debate, you should be talked to, right? But I don't think these guys, firstly, should be called religious anything, first of all, right? I think we need to like recoin and rephrase these guys. I think maybe we should call them like, you know, global intolerance or social intolerance or mass murderers or boogeyman, or I don't know. Figure it out, right? I don't think religion should be distorted to be sort of bunched up with and bracketed with these guys. But to answer your question more directly, I think Pakistan is increasingly, there's this weird like Islamo-fascism which is happening. Not just Islamo-religion, like, you know, like sort of in the religious sense, but also in a state-structured sense. And I think with increased xenophobia, you might not be religious, like this chap, our friend, the martini, the gentleman with the brunette with the martini and his little glow-in-the-dark choker, right? I don't think he's religious at all, but I think he's very patriotic. And I think that's important because xenophobia, religious fundamentalism in the classic sense, are sort of meeting somewhere in the middle, and this guy's sort of propping up his own national identity. He thinks it's cool to be Pakistani if you're a hater, if you're hating on someone who's hating on Pakistan's worst laws. He thinks it's okay. So he thinks it's treason, but it's not really treason. It's actually just cold-blooded murder. But he thinks it's treason, and that's okay. So if you get my gist, so they're combining somewhere in the middle. The fundamentalist state is meeting fundamentalist religion, and combining somewhere in the middle. So he's not religious at all. He thinks he's being patriotic, but he's not really. He's doing a disservice to his very country.
All right, we'll take a break for about 3-4 minutes. We'll see where that leaves us. Can we give Waj a round of applause, though, first? It's really well deserved. Courageous and eloquent.